morning ministry videos. Let me know if you like them. We'll continue doing them, but just kind of turn on the camera and just recording a couple of thoughts we've had about some things that we've been learning or pops in our mind, so we can start our day right, thinking about God. So today we're just talking about something kind of foundational within the Christianity is God's humanity in Jesus, like Jesus's humanity, the man of Jesus. We see in Revelation there's four faces we see, and one of them is a man, and there's a lot of references to the Son of Man, and Jesus came incarnate as a man, and so we're just kind of looking at why does it matter? Why does it matter that Jesus is a man and he's 100% man and 100% God? So why does it matter that he's 100% man? So I can't totally knock this topic out because theologians can go on for years and years talking about it. But just kind of some thoughts with that is it reminds me of the "He Gets Us" commercials. I don't know if you guys have seen the Super Bowl. There was that whole promo that said like "He Gets Us" or whatever, and had a bunch of different pictures of people serving each other. And um, look, I don't know. People are split on that, but the point is he does get us, and by he gets us I mean he understands us. So I don't know exactly what people were saying or doing when they created that promo, but I can say that he gets us, he understands us, he loves us, he wants us to um just to fulfill all the callings that we have in our lives. Oh, thank you so much. Good morning. And so when I think of the term he gets us, I think he understands us. And that kind of comes from Philippians 2:6 through 8. It says, who in the being very nature of God, which is God, did not consider it, sorry, which is Jesus, did not consider equality with God something to be used for his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, made in human likeness, and being found in appearance of a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient even to death, death on the cross. And so it's important when we think about he gets us. I like I said, I don't know what the commercials were trying to say, but I can say that he does get us. Why? This is just a handful of things because he gave up all of his rights. He's been in a position where he could have done something and he didn't. He humbled himself. He's meek. He's strength under control. He was born just like a baby and he grows. So he grew in favor with God and man. It says that he was hungry, he was tired, he wept, he was thirsty, he had temptation. In fact, he had greater temptations than any of us. Think about this. When was the last time you were tempted to turn bread into, or sorry, rocks into bread? When was the last time you were tempted to turn water into wine? You couldn't even do half the stuff that the miracles that happened. So he had a level of temptation way beyond a lot of us, and he was often tempted to quit. There were so many things that he was tempted in and he didn't. What's interesting, if you go through the story in Matthew where he is tested in the wilderness, you'll see something that's interesting. The devil takes Jesus to the high pinnacle and says, I will give you all this if you just worship me. And what that essentially was, in my understanding, is it was a shortcut. The devil was offering Jesus a shortcut to getting his goal. So the goal, well, yeah, the goal was Jesus was to be seated at the right hand of the Father to rule over everything, but he needed to die first. This very difficult, rough task, and we see that there was a struggle there because in the Garden of Gethsemane, he weeps and he sweats blood, and we see that he asks God, God, if there's any other way. And so essentially, the devil knew this, and that's what he addressed. And he said, listen, I'll give you another way. I'll give you a shortcut. You can do this shortcut, and you can worship me and get this end goal, which is a good end goal, but in the bad way. And so we see that there's a lot of these things, and if you've ever been through rough, difficult situations, he has too. I mean, we were just talking. This is one of the busiest weeks that we have here over at church. We're doing like so much stuff, and we're like absolutely swamped. And guess what? That's the time that like the most difficult stuff happens and gets thrown at us. And you just think about it in his most difficult, most challenging time at the end of his life, near the crucifixion. What happens? All of his friends leave him. He's betrayed by some of his closest friends. He's mocked, he's scorned, and he's not guilty of anything. He's perfect. And so when we look at all this, Jesus, it says in Hebrews, it says, we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize and understand our weaknesses and temptations, but one who has been tempted, knowing exactly what it feels like to be human in every respect as we, yet without committing any sin. And so we understand that he knows exactly. It says that he was tempted in every way. So any way that you've been tempted, Jesus has been tempted in a similar way. And so he understands. I remember I had a manager once when I was younger, and he asked me to go do something, and I looked at him because it was like this crazy request. And he's like, and he sat me down. He said, "Listen, I'm not asking you to do anything I haven't done. If I ask somebody to do something, it's because I've already done it, because I want to understand what people feel." And you see some of these guys, and this is not the perfect example, but some of these people, like, they're kind of like undercover boss, right? They come down and then they do these jobs so they understand their workers. The truth is that they can feel what their workers, the people on the ground, are feeling. And so this is not the best example of Jesus, but when he asks us to do something, it's not because he's disconnected. It's not because he doesn't know. It's because he understands, and he's there, and he cares. He genuinely cares. So when I talk about he gets us, he cares for us. He understands us. He understands what we're going through. And so when he says, "Oh, if you're weary or heavy laden, come to me," trust me, Jesus was weary and heavy laden. The time that I remember he was trying to take a nap, they woke him up right away. He couldn't wake up. He was trying to get alone, and they followed him. He was trying to go away on the mountain, and he had to go help them because they were lost in the storm. There's all these things, just the weights and the weights and the weights kept coming upon him. I used to think like, oh, Jesus was like the God man where he could just flip a switch and boom, like he's God again, so he doesn't have to be hungry anymore. He doesn't have to, no, like it didn't work that way. He was fully God and fully man. So he was fully man. And so, anyway, I could keep on talking about this. I'm actually still kind of learning about this. But when I hear he gets us, and I don't know what the commercials were saying, but I believe that he understands us. He truly, genuinely cares. It says in Luke that God knows the number of hairs on your head, and he counts them, which is crazy because the number of hair on your head changes constantly. It changes every day. Whenever you brush your hair too hard, something falls out or something grows. And so that's a continual. He continually is up to date with even the smallest, tiniest things in your life. And it says later in Psalms, it says that he collects your tears in bottles and keeps them in the throne room. That means every tear that you cry, God cares about, that he cares about. And he not only cares about, but he understands them. One of Jesus' best friends, Lazarus, he died. He was betrayed by almost all of his friends. Well, all of his friends. Everyone that was with him left him. Everybody who said they would be ride or die and all this stuff, they all left him. And so he understands even the most deepest, most painful, physical, emotional, spiritual feelings that we all feel. So anyway, that's why it's important. One of the couple reasons why it's so important that we understand the humanity of Jesus, to understand that he gets us and he loves us and he truly, truly cares and his heart breaks for us. So anyway, I could go on more about that. Hopefully you enjoyed this morning ministry. Let me know if you do, and we'll keep doing them. All right. Bless you guys. Peace.